The following is a rebroadcast of the Newark City Schools Board of Education's most recent general monthly meeting.
Call this meeting to order of the Newark City School District Board of Education, meeting on Monday, April 8th, 2013 at 6:30 p.m. in the Media Center at the high school. Jeff, call the roll, please.
Mr. Blind.
Here.
Mr. Bybee.
Here.
Mr. Carr.
Here.
Mr. Harden.
Here.
Mrs. Nickum.
Here. And now Mr. Bybee will lead us with the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Okay, why don't we stand and face the flag over here if you would. You know, with this weather being the way it is the last couple of days, it's everybody is pretty excited about spring and all that goes on. My gosh, just tonight we've got softball games and baseball games and tennis matches, and it's just good to see through this long and dreary winter that we were able to get through everything and the promise of spring and all that goes with it, with the activities going on here at the high school. And it makes us all feel pretty good that as we move forward, we got nothing but the best in front of us. So please join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dan. Special reports, technology update.
Hey, I guess Angie didn't move, so I'll do it. No, I'm kidding you, Angie. There. We talked last month about our Bring Your Own Device project, and where we're at. We're in a building here, and I believe we had about 88 access points. Am I correct, Angie, in saying that? 94. 94. That's why I asked Angie. 94 access points are around the building that we're pretty good thumbs up here in the very near future to unveil this Bring Your Own technology here in the high school. But I want to keep reiterating the fact that Bring Your Own Device does not mean that kids will be on their devices 24 hours a day, 7 days a week here at the high school. You may be in it 5 minutes one day in one class, or maybe 20. You may use it 4 straight periods, or you may not use it at all from that standpoint. So I want to make sure that we understand that. We've chosen a select group of people here that Mrs. Horgan, our curriculum director, feels comfortable that incorporate this technology into their classrooms, and so we're really excited about that. It's kind of a pilot deal, and I'll compliment our technology group along with Maura Horgan and Mindy Vaughn, our curriculum folks that and our staff up here working hard to put together an acceptable use policy that our students can be familiar with and know the ins and outs of what they can and can't do. So we're really pleased with where we're at right now. We're getting some recognition outside of our district for what we're doing from some conferences and meetings I'm going to, and it's just nice to change the way we're delivering our instruction here at the high school. And so good shape from that standpoint. So hopefully when we come back next year, early in the school year, this will be an all-out full force effort to particularly here at the high school and somewhat in the middle schools, pudging along a little bit behind the high schools, and probably not going to let a kindergartner bring their own iPad, but we're coming in the area where a lot of kindergartners are starting to have iPads, I think, for crying out loud. But in any event, we're looking good from a technology standpoint. Appreciate everybody's efforts.
Doug, how soon are we going to actually say, yes, we're rolling with it this fall?
Here, what, Angie?
Hoping that we have all the acceptable use policies signed by April 15th. So not this week, but next. We're hoping we're going to be doing in pilot. This fall, we're looking at September 3rd. So we're not going to be back very long, and we're hoping to open the high school, open the 3 middle schools, and then open it up for all the teachers at all the other schools.
I'm just thinking we probably need to give parents as much notice as we can, because some folks are going to have to work to fit that into a budget. And if we could give them from real soon from now till next fall, that's going to help a lot of people.
Well, part of that is we have a list of acceptable devices, and so Seth is going to be working with our folks to try to get that message out to people and our families, and so that as birthdays come up or some things like that, a lot of homes have technology now, and that they can get the proper devices and move forward.
Any other questions for technology? If not, we'll move on to construction update. We don't have an update, so to speak, tonight, but I will say that the board actually just finished taking a tour of the Roosevelt building, the new Administrative Service Center, and it's looking fantastic. So we're right on schedule. Doug always says to knock on wood. We're right on schedule there at the Roosevelt building. And now we'll do communications from the floor. We have a public meeting on the issue of the employment of retired, rehired personnel by the Newark City School District Board of Education. We have 5 people that are listed individually, but for each public hearing, speakers are limited to 5 minutes each, and all public comment will be closed after 30 minutes. And if you wish to address the board concerning one of these individuals, you should step up to the podium, give your name, address, and then speak for up to 5 minutes. First off, members of the public are invited to provide input to the board on the issue of Judith McNish's reemployment in the district following her retirement. Does anyone wish to address the board concerning the rehire of Judith McNish? If not, we will move on. Members of the public are invited to provide input to the board on the issue of Barbara Bell's reemployment in the district following her retirement. Does anyone wish to address the board considering the reemployment of Barbara Bell? Moving on. Members of the public are invited to provide input to the board on the issue of Amy Norman's reemployment in the district following her retirement. Does anyone wish to address the board on the reemployment of Amy Norman? Members of the public are invited to provide input to the board on the issue of Martha Harmon's reemployment in the district following her retirement. Does anyone wish to address the board on the reemployment of Martha Harmon? Members of the public are invited to provide input to the board on the issue of Kim Serino's reemployment in the district following her retirement. Does anyone wish to address the board concerning the issue of reemployment of Kim Serino? I'll now close the public invitation to provide input on retire, rehire, and now move on to our regular public comment period. If anyone wishes to address the board, you may approach the podium. Please give your name, address, and you may speak for up to 5 minutes. Does anyone wish to speak with the board this evening? If not, move on to treasurer's recommendations, Jeff.
Item 2A, approval of board meeting minutes for the March 11th, 2013 regular meeting. Item 2B is approval of March 2013 financial reports, which we have $36.1 million in our bank account. The general fund is at a level of $19.9 million. Bond retirement, $3.3 million. Permanent improvement of $2.9 million. Building fund of $2.9 million. Food service of $700,000. OSFC project locals, $100,000. OSFC project state share is $3.6 million. Classroom facilities is $1.9 million. Other miscellaneous is $3.7 million. And those balances include the first half general property tax disbursement from the county auditor, county treasurer. Item 2C is the approval of the fiscal year 2013 permanent supplemental appropriation resolution. The first item, 004 building, $405,000. That's the money that we received from LACA to put up on the Roosevelt project. I had received the money, and we accepted that, and this is the appropriation of it so that we can use that money in the Roosevelt project. Other grants was a reduction of $5,000. District managed student activity fund. Some of the classes have raised $4,525 that we need to appropriate by the end of the year, for the end of the year. Education Management Information System is $4,900 in expenses. That's our EMIS, Student Information System. Item 2D is approval of transfer of funds. This is transferring from permanent improvement to the maintenance fund. The $412,881 is what is required by our OSFC contract to set aside for maintenance of the new buildings, so that there's always a fund there for maintenance of the new buildings that was remodeled by OSFC. Item 2E is approval of bond resolutions that are in Appendix 2E. That is the refunding of about $43 million in bonds to save our taxpayers about $2.5 million. I would hope that you would accept this report.
Do I have a motion to approve treasurer's recommendations A through E?
So moved.
Second.
Was it Curtis moved and Dan second? Any discussion or questions for Jeff?
Just a comment, Jeff, thank you very much for finding this refunding of the bond resolution for us. That's really encouraging to hear that kind of savings.
This is the authorization for it. The bond will actually be sold probably in late August, so make a little more fanfare out of that when we actually issue the bonds and can confirm exactly what the savings are. Right now, it's just an estimate.
Well, I'll let you know we appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing further. Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickum?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Superintendent's recommendations.
No, one moment, please. I apologize. Timing's everything in life. Couldn't find my cell phone. So I thought I set it on top of my car, so I sent them out to make sure it wasn't sitting on top of my car, and it's not. So it's locked in my car, so I can breathe easier. I'm sure some of you have probably been there. Under item A, personnel, we have a couple resignations. Beth Waite, that's retirement, occupational therapist, and also Rita Winkler is an ortho aide at Hillview. I would mention we appreciate their service to the district and wish them well. I think Beth probably pushes us up to the neighborhood of 16 or 17 certified staff members at this point of the school year. So, you know, we're going to have, you know, when I reflect and look back through it, by the time this year's over in a 3-year period, we're going to turn over a good portion of our staff, and we appreciate the service of those staff members. Barbara and her department, I know Barb and Maura and Mendy, all three were at OU today at a job fair. They're going to Bowling Green here in a day or two, and Ohio State tomorrow, I believe, and really hitting it hard. That's why they look really tired. Interviewing kids all day, but they were very excited, very encouraged of what they found at OU today. And so we appreciate your efforts going out there. It's worked for us the last couple of years, but we're probably really in the neighborhood of maybe 90 people in 3 years when this is all said and done. So we appreciate their work, and so thank you for doing that, Barb. Item A3 are appointments and assignments. Marianne Wells and Chad Becker. Look down, salary and position adjustments. Randy Noss for high school cross-country in the fall. I do want to mention and point out, as in my letter to you, Jeffrey Quackenbush will be on a 260-day contract from 250. He was approved last month for a 3-year contract. We need to adjust that from 250 to 260 days as he's here all summer. You see under item 8, other, I'll read down through item 8A is a resolution to notify staff members not to be reemployed. We have a staff member who's on a 60 or been here longer than 60 days, so she was offered a contract this year that needs to be non-renewed. That's not a performance issue at all. Issue contracts, item 8B is issue contracts to all the certified staff members that were in your packet. 8C is the coordinator contracts. 8D, extended service days for the list that you also have. 8E, approval of reappointment of substitute teachers. That list was in there too. We appreciate, and I will mention, it's difficult to find enough substitutes out there. But again, Barbara's group has done a good job of that, and so those people are staff members who have subbed for us this year that we want to reemploy to sub next year. And then item 8F is a public notice. It It is recommended that the Board of Education approve running a public notice for the purpose of advertising a public hearing to receive input on the issue of rehiring Richard Smits, who previously was employed by the Newark City School District in the same position. Mr. Smits is the guidance counselor at Newark Catholic, and that is auxiliary funds that come through us, so he would be reemployed that way. So,
Do you have a motion to approve superintendent's recommendations A 1 through 8?
So moved.
Tom has moved, Dan is second. Any discussion or questions?
I did want to point out, Doug, that I think we should mention that on Jeff Quackenbush's contract, that is not an adjustment in salary. It's strictly the days and the salary.
exactly. Thanks for bringing that up.
Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickam?
Yes, motion carries.
Under item B, students and curriculum, we're down to one special ed contract this month on B2, and that is with the Mount Vernon City Schools. Also under B2B, agreements between Licking County ESC and the Newark City Schools. It's recommended the board approve the following agreement between the Licking County ESC and the Newark City Schools as shown in the appendix. Resolution to align with the Licking County Educational Service Center, Early Childhood Disabled Preschool Contract, and Special Education and Related Services Contract. Under item 6, approval for cafeteria fees. The increase, basically 10 cents a lunch, and if we're going to be part of the National Lunch Program, which we get refunded for the lunches, we're required to cover the costs of those, and so that is not something that we're saying we came up with, but there's a formula. Jeff worked it out, and so in order for us to receive and be part of the National Lunch Reimbursement Program, then that needs to be approved. And then item 6B is approval of the high school summer school fees.
Do I have a motion to approve superintendent's recommendations B 1 through 6?
So moved. Second.
Curdy's moved, Tim is second. Any discussion or questions? Not call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickam?
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, under item C, gifts. I alluded to this last month that State Farm had us come out, Mr. Altapeter and Mr. Williams and myself, go through their office furniture they had in a storage unit and donate it to the school. We're not sure of what a value would that be on it, but it's a great value. And we appreciate, again, what State Farm does for the Newark City Schools. And as we mentioned earlier on the Roosevelt project, that's not Ohio School Facilities Project. And so that means that in our new buildings here, the furniture we have in front of us and we're sitting on out there, that's new furniture paid for by the School Facilities Project. At Roosevelt, we don't have that. So we're not buying a whole lot of new furniture, very little, if any. And so this State Farm office furniture allowed us to, equip some of our offices over there, and we really appreciate it.
One of those desks didn't happen to have my name on it, did it?
Dan Bybee, yeah. I think you left an envelope full of money in there too, Dan. But
Do I have a motion to approve superintendent's recommendation C, gifts?
So moved.
Second.
Dan has moved, Curtis second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickam?
Yes, motion carries.
and item D, business, contract services, approval of Call to College contract. And I can't begin to share with the board and our community the value of what these great people do, whether it's the Call to College board, members of our community, and members of the Newark community outside of Newark who donate money to the Call to College program, and then certainly the staff members who work in that department. Here, I mean, we get a huge value. We fund about 20%, just a little bit over 20% of this program. And it's a $120,000 contract per year with $15,000 in-kind donations, and that would be the rental of the space for Call to College. And so what we're putting into that program financially, we are getting a huge benefit out of it, and we get a huge benefit out of it. Our students really benefit. So we appreciate, there's a lot of people have worked very hard in that Calder College, so we do appreciate their efforts. Our students benefit from that. Advertising of bids, under item 2, recommended Board of Education authorize the treasurer to advertise for bids for the following project: the outside storage barn at Roosevelt/ASC facility. Some of you, the board members that were over there tonight, saw where Dave's going to construct a storage facility out back. This is that facility. Item 3, acceptance of bids. Recommended the Board of Education accept the bids for the following project: Evans HVAC, NHS auditorium seating, NHS paving, and site work and electrical. Basically, the last part of that, if you look out the side door here, outside the hub, and you just take and draw about a half circle around our property, and that's what we're looking at. It's the final bid procedure for the paving, and that should be about the last work that we do up here, and that's why Dave's smiling sitting over there. The seating in the auditorium is not an OSFC project. That's being done by Dave out of our budget, so and much needed project. So, awardance of bids under item 4, the Evans HVAC to Command Heating for $52,560. Auditorium seating, American Seating out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, $149,677.50. The paving contract to Chemcoat, $472,600, which was below expected, so that's great. The site electrical for that, $130,800 to Proline Electric.
Do I have a motion to approve superintendent's recommendations D 1 through 5?
So moved. Second.
Curtis moved, Thomas second. Any discussion or questions?
Question on the outside storage barn at Roosevelt. We will stay in budget even with the addition of that?
That is not even designated as part of the project. That's why you see that was going to be budgeted out of the next permanent improvement budget.
Okay.
Separate,
So it's a separate, completely
separate.
separate
It
project?
wasn't in the original construction document.
Okay.
We left that part out.
As far as the auditorium goes, do we lose or gain any seating with the new seating package?
Essentially the same. May lose a few seats because now from when we got our money's worth out of whatever, 1961 or so forward, we've been able to use the seats that are in there. Earlier in my tenure here, I had them recovered once. Now, 60-year-old chairs, 50, 55-year-old chairs, they've lived their life. So the direct question, or the direct answer to your question is, we'll lose maybe because we'll have to add, because of ADA or Americans with Disabilities Act, some areas where you can roll up a wheelchair with a companion chair next to it. It's just the change in the last 50 years with the advent of ADA and so on. So we'll lose a few, but essentially it's around 1,043 seats now. We'll lose a few because of that ADA requirement, code requirement.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickam?
Yes, motion carries. Now we have a Board of Education recommendations. It is recommended the Board of Education announce its intent to adopt the following policies as shown in the appendix. An announcement be made that these policies will be available to the board, staff, and public for inspection in the Office of the Superintendent of Schools from April 9th, 2013 through May 13th, 2013. File 2623.02, third grade reading guarantee. File 3220, staff evaluation. File 8900, anti-fraud. And now it is recommended that the Board of Education adopt policies listed below as shown in the appendix and as announced at the March 11, 2013 meeting of the Board of Education. File 5112, entrance requirements. Do I have a motion to adopt policy file 5112 entrance requirements.
So moved.
Dan has moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Curtis, second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickam?
Yes, motion carries. And now board discussion. We can start down at Tim.
Well, the students started this week, the last 9 weeks. And I know they're excited to see the last 9 weeks, and actually probably so are the teachers. And the parents are going to be thrilled to have their kids all summer. But as we look at this last 9 weeks, moms, dads, whoever's working with the kids, keep that up. Been doing great all year. Let's finish it strong. It's a great time to plug in and read with your kids, hear them read to you. And that doesn't really matter what age they are. It's neat to do that. So it's a lot of fun. So that's just my thought.
I pass.
I just want to say we got a lot of spring sports, a lot of fine arts activities. Encourage everybody to get out and support the students.
Yeah, so now you can get out without freezing. I mean,
Something said for that.
You know, I'm going to call out and just say a few words and how impressed I am with Dave Alderpeter and the work that he's done with and his people have done with these buildings. You know, I first came on board several years ago. We were in the midst of all of this construction on all of these buildings that we had in the district, and my gosh, I thought, when are we ever going to see the end of it, you know? And, you know, week by week and month by month, as we sat here at the Board of Education, we saw some continuous change and positive change and kept that momentum going till we find ourselves right now tonight. My gosh, we just have the paving of the road out here and few other, the auditorium seating, and I guess as I reflect back again and we see the positive changes that have gone in the district, I mean, these buildings that we have right now, they rival and are better than most other in the district here in the state, and as far as that goes, probably in the country. And those things don't happen without good leadership. And so, Dave, I want to tell you how much I appreciated working with you on these projects and you and your department. And I know that your department is responsible for this, and I just wanted to let you know how much we appreciate as a board because, again, those are the kind of things that will continue to drive us forward and continue to have us improve. So thank you very much for your leadership. I also wanted to say thank you to State Farm. My gosh, you know, they continue to provide assistance to us in the school district, not only monetarily, but now we see with furniture and other things. And so I'm just glad to see that we were able to take advantage of that. And again, I just appreciate that company for what it does for the school board. So good things going on.
Jeff?
While Dan was talking about Dave, I can appreciate his value to the district because my former school district didn't have a business manager that you could rely on like Dave. And while you were talking, Dan, I was trying to figure out from what he's told me, you've outlasted, what, about 4 superintendents and 4 treasurers over your career? Something like that. So he's got some stick-to-itiveness in doing his job, and he does a fantastic job of it. So I do appreciate him and working with him, too, and I appreciate being in Newark City Schools. I can't think of any place else I'd rather be. It's fantastic. Things are going well. When you have your citizens come up to you and say, you know, you guys haven't been in the paper a while, that's a good feeling. And I had that good feeling this past week. So thank you for letting me serve in Newark City Schools.
Thanks, Jeff. Just wanted to mention the school year. Every now and then we encourage people to take a step back and see where we were at and where we're at now and where we're headed. And Dan talks about positive momentum and moving forward. Sometimes I reflect back on 4 years here, and I look around the room and I see a lot of new faces and those type of things on administrative team. And this has been a fantastic school year. And our focus, a lot of it is staying in the moment, but we have to have a vision in the next year. And we've been working really hard on where we want to be next year and continue to move forward and those type of things. So, you know, we appreciate that. Saturday, had an opportunity to kind of go around. We had a great day here Saturday. It was a beautiful day, a little breezy, but a beautiful day for a track invitational, a doubleheader softball game, and a doubleheader baseball game, and a group of middle school orchestra students out at Liberty, working hard. But one of the things that impressed me as I went around to those events is the teamwork that we have with our staff. And it's really neat to stand at a track meet and see wrestling coaches and football coaches and you know, those type of people out helping run a track meet. And because it takes a lot of volunteers to do that. Randy Knopfs and Jeff Quackenbush really organized a very nice track invitational, but it was really neat to see a lot of our staff members, and not just coaches, a lot of our staff members out there making sure that event went well, and whether they be pulling hurdles off the track and putting them back on, and you know, running field events and So from there I went into the middle school and watched the orchestra directors in the district allow the students to do a solo ensemble competition in there, and it was just Newark City School students, middle school. And in that group, helping judge and helping organize that, were other music teachers who weren't teaching orchestra, general music teachers, choir teachers, working as a team to help that out. So that was kind of neat to see. A lot of our kids had opportunities Saturday, but I was really impressed with the teamwork of the staff. So wanted to bring that up. It's nice to see. The other thing is as we look at this school year and look on the next and just look at the Newark City schools in general, we've got wonderful kids here, wonderful, wonderful students in this district that are very polite and for the most part come in here ready to learn and follow the rules and you know, get the most out of their abilities. Staff-wise, we have a wonderful staff here that works hard, and one of the things I like, we're in a building here where we've got a lot of staff changing what they're doing in a delivery model and incorporating some technology into their classroom. From an elementary standpoint, we've got a lot of staff members getting ready for the third grade reading guarantee, and we're doing a new evaluation system, and we're doing OTES and OPES and SLOs and those type of things, and you know, that's not dreamt up by Doug Ute down in the office. That's coming out of Columbus, and so we need to change. And yeah, so our students and staff are awesome. Our budget is in great shape. You know, I keep telling people in 09, this May of 09, this district passed an operating issue and basically said it probably will last 3 years. Well, we're beyond that, and so. Well, Jeff says we're going to make the 5. I always like to knock on the wood, but that's because of teamwork. And then our facilities. It was really nice because this doesn't happen in the past, but it's nice to have people come out of Columbus down to a sporting event and say, man, you got the best facility in the central Ohio area. That makes you feel good. And if you walk out these doors, as I noticed earlier before the board meeting and stood in the point where I can look right, look down a hallway, and look in through here, our maintenance staff, those floors are shining tonight after 1,400 kids hit that hallway today. And so they're taking a lot of pride in this, and it really looks good. If you haven't seen it, and there she is, right on cue out there in the hallway. But our staff is working hard together and taking care of these facilities that we have. So a lot of good things going on. And Tim, it's a great time to be a Wildcat, buddy.
Thank you, Doug. Spring brings out many things. Of course, testing was mentioned. I tried to take my 4th grader to lunch one day, and he said he couldn't stay too long at lunch because he had to get back because they were doing a practice test for the OAAs. So the kids are gearing up for that. Of course, hopefully our kids are getting outside and playing in the afternoon after school, so watch for those balls to ride into the street and kids on bikes. So use some extra caution as the good weather brings the kids out playing and such. And then it also, spring always seems to bring fundraisers, so we've got some golf outings going on and restaurant fundraisers. So check the website. Seth has set up a fundraiser app or a section of the website, a link to look into all of that stuff. And now I will take a motion to adjourn to executive session for the discussion of the employment, discipline, or compensation of public personnel. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Dan is moved, Tom is second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bybee?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mrs. Nickam?
Yes, we'll adjourn to executive session. We do not intend to do business afterwards. It is 7:06 PM.